Right, so just for fun, I'm going to try some of this resin polish on here. I've done this before ages ago. This is obviously for cars, and this is absolutely massive overkill for a lawnmower. Welcome back again to repairing lawnmowers for profit. It appears I've got the bug, but we've just been out to pick this up for 20 quid. I had a lot of messages on my other video going, oh, you would have got this for £20, so I'll just try and show you on my phone here. Basically, I don't know if you can see that, but it's 35 and I offered him 20. He said if you can come today you can have it. So we've got a home light hand propelled mower, which means there's no self-drive on it, and we're going to get it out the car obviously. We're not going to try and fix it in here, are we? No. And we're going to have a look at this. So I'll drag it out the car, drag it in the garden, and we'll have a look at this £20 home light lawnmower. Right, so I've been doing a bit of painting. So as you can see here, once again, same thing. Complete mess, grass all over it. This is snapped off, which probably means it doesn't start very easily. Can't wait to try this one. And these are my age-old favourites with these SV150 engines in, which they run well if you get them running right, but there's so many little fiddly faffy bits with springs and stuff. But the chap that had this, see this here, that's this here, sorry, interrupting myself, and this is a bit of a telltale sign that's been left outside really. But the chap said basically that it don't run right because this doesn't work. I don't care about that. If I get it running right, I'll probably take it off. But the other concern I've got as well is he said that this is really stiff, and this is for the brake. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to drop some 3-in-1 down there, but obviously I'm going to try and start this up now. Once I've checked there's some oil in it, we'll fire it up, let's see what we've got before we start cleaning it off. Let's have a quick look under the underside of here first. See if we can get this plug lead off. Let's have a quick look. Alright, so no self-drive, so no belt. Blade doesn't look bent or anything like that. On the pins look there for the blade adapter as well. It's not too bad, just a bit dirty. Lots of long grass, it was a farm. So, oh no, that's not a good sign. Look at this here. That looks like a gasket for a carb. So I might have had this in bits. This could be a bit of a disaster. That definitely looks like a carb gasket, as if someone's had a look in here, tried to fix the problem. So I'm going to see if there's some oil in it, and let's try and start this up and see just what a mess we've got for £20. Another thing I've always hated about this is you try and check the oil, and the whole stupid tube comes out. This always gets stuck in here, so you have to kind of pull the whole stupid thing out. It's just most rubbish design, this really. Anyway, I'll stop moaning because it was 20 quid, which is great if you can get it running. I reckon I'll get what, 60, 70, 80 quid for this. So let's just see if there's any oil in here at all. Yeah, we've got some in there. I'm not measuring it properly. There's some in, as long as it's not bone dry. Let's see if there's any dinosaur juice in here, mate. Let's have a look. That's bone dry. That's interesting. What did he say, David? What did he say about the fuel? We'll put it in the car, he said.
Petrol?
Yeah, the petrol, he said. Be careful putting it in the car because it's full of petrol. But it's bone dry.
No petrol in it.
I'm suspecting that someone's had a look at this and tried to get this going. So let's put some fuel in it and let's see if it starts. So today's actually a really special day on repairing lawnmowers for profit, because what you won't probably realise is we've actually got a new funnel. Yeah. Right, some fuel going in. What I want to be careful of here is that it's not all pouring out of the bottom of the car, because anything could happen here. So that's our first use for a new funnel. That felt a bit strange, didn't it, David, after all them years?
Yeah.
Wonderful day for a new funnel to get its debut there. And what is it, David? Draper, look. 4-piece funnel set. Oh God, even this don't go on. Look at this, look. Oh, give me a Briggs any day. Look at state. Right, there we go. Eventually we got there. Right then, let's give this a try. I'm going to put this up to choke here. No primer. I need to pull this cable here like that. Oh, this feels terrible. Now this is the part where normally, looking at this pull cord, really I should change this first because it's probably going to rip my arm off. I really don't fancy this too much. There's absolutely nothing there yet at all.
Is it leaking?
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's leaking.
Where? Show me.
What's this down the front?
Oh, look at that.
Sink come out of nowhere.
Oh, look
Oh dear.
I knew that was going to happen, didn't I?
Oh, that's not good.
So someone's had a good tinker with this. Luckily I didn't fill it to the top with fuel either. Right, so I've no choice with this one. It's falling out of the bottom anyway. I'm just going to take this fuel back out into this container here. I'd rather have it coming out mostly into there than falling out the carb. So what I'm going to get out of here now, I'm going to get the what's left in the carb falling out the front of the mower. Basically nothing else. So this is massively changed the game really, because someone's obviously been in here and tried to fix this. So we need to find out exactly what this problem is. Right, so this is a giant stinking mess, so we're just going to clean this off and have a look exactly what damage we've got with this one. Right, so while Davey gets a 10mm socket, he's going to take this off here, and it stinks of fuel this. Just looking down here, there's a massive gap. It's really sunny today, so it's quite hard to film, so I can't see the screen that good, but there's a massive gap here between the air filter box, but we've got what looks like to be all the springs. I'm just a bit concerned why there was that gasket as well. The reason these normally leak is if the needle sticks in the carb. So interestingly, the guy said it was full of fuel, which obviously he didn't realise was pouring out the bottom end. They say he lived on a massive farm, so it was just around the back of middle of nowhere really, so he probably kept pouring it in, trying it, it didn't work. And then, other way mate, and then he must have been going through a fortune in fuel. These as well, let me just feel that mate, that's alright. Sometimes, I want to mention this, sometimes these little things, you do that other one, there's a connecting rod below it and the rod ends up turning and you can't actually get these off, which is another reason I absolutely hate doing these ones as well. Then you can't get the actual recoil cover off, so the rods all come out from underneath, which is a bit of a pain. But I'm going to strip this down, take this cover off, have a look at this carb, particularly have a look at the needle inside, clean this off, put it back together and see what we've got. There's no point trying to start this as is. Right, lift that off there, let's have a look under here and see what a mess we're in. Alright, so I've got that. If you've never done this before, you're doing your own mower, at this point when you get this off, even that, look, I'm going to film it, take yourself some photographs so you can check which way around things go, because you think you'll remember but you don't. So facing me with a carb here, I've got a cut out of this side and a cut out of this side. I'm basically filming that for my own benefit, so let's take that off. And for anyone who's taking their own SV150 engine springs off, this might be really helpful to you. So I'll try and just film in here for 10 seconds just so you can have a look around and hopefully see where these springs go. It's probably the number one question I get asked on these is, where does these springs go on this carb? So I've taken them off and I can't get them on. So hopefully that helps you, but I'm going to take all this apart and get the carb off and strip it down, put it back together, check it doesn't leak first of all, and then try this mower. So we need to take this air filter box off. And if you remember, not that I promise I won't mention this all the way through the video. If you remember the previous video with the Briggs, I could get the air filter box off with this flat-headed screwdriver, lift it out of the way and get the carb off. But with these, I've got to get in with a 10mm socket, which is no big deal really, but it's just a faff. Why can't I get that one off? I can't get into get that one off either. So what size is that? That looks maybe a little bit smaller, so let's get a different one for that. So what's happened here is I can't get the drill on with the socket, because what's happened here is he's tried to put this air filter box on so tight. As I said at the beginning, there's a gap here. I think what the guy's been thinking is if I can seal this gap here, I can stop this revving up and down or doing whatever it was doing. But you see, this is part of you see this rod here? This runs right through here, so I'm going to have to take this off first of all and get this out. And when you take both of these out, the whole carb drops down, and this is where a lot of people, I think, lose the springs. And all of a sudden they've not got a picture. In fact, there's me not taking a picture, even though I've got loads of videos. So I'm going to grab my phone, I'm going to take a few pictures, because phones just take brilliant photographs nowadays, don't they? In fact, I bought a Haynes manual for my car the other week, and it's got like black and white pictures in it, and they're like, you know, they're terrible, really. Now you can get a mobile phone or watch a YouTube video. Really, it's amazing they're still going. However, having said that, there is a really good Lawnmower Haynes manual if you're just getting started. So I've got that off there. I'll try and back this out of here, although I'm not convinced it's moving. And already we're getting into SV150 land, aren't we? Right, so I managed to get that out. I'm going to pull this out of here. I'm going to put this in the parts tray on the right hand side. So the one on the top on the parts tray goes on the right. I'm going to take this box off, put some gloves on here because it absolutely stinks of fuel, and I have enough problems with my hands as it is with like dry skin and stuff like vitiligo and stuff, so I always put some gloves on now. And it's covered in fuel, this. It stinks, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
So I just want to really be careful not to clatter myself in fuel, and I don't need to. So first thing I want to look at, if you look down here, mate, I want to see if there's a gasket on the back of the carb. There's nothing there, is there? So there's no gasket there between the carb here and the intake tube here. So I reckon I'm probably going to at least need to get a gasket that goes on the back of here. You can see round here, Dave, if you come round here, mate, and film here, there's like a shape you can see that goes around, and that's where the gasket sat before, and that's what was broken off in here. Someone's obviously had this off and on quite a few times. The gasket snapped and they've just kind of given up with it. So I'm probably going to need a gasket for one of these cars, which shouldn't be too hard to find. If you look under here, there's a sticker under here. I don't know if you can see there, mate. Can you see where it says SV150? That's why I keep mentioning SV150, because that's the engine. Basically just a cheap Chinese engine, really. So this really ain't going to work because it hasn't got the seal between this tube here and the carb, and everything's just so clunky to move. If you look at these linkages here, you get a really good film in on these linkages. That's it, make sure it stays in focus for everybody, because I always feel going too far. And what happens is people take these springs off here. I'm just going to poke about so you can see where everything is, and these linkages, and they really can't remember where everything goes. So I'm going to unhook this top linkage from here like that, hopefully, and pull that out. Then I'm going to unhook this spring as well. Can you see the spring? I'm going to unhook that spring, boing. And I'm going to unhook this linkage as well. I should probably have done the fuel line first. I'm going to unhook that linkage and pull that one out. Let's have a quick look like that. And now you've got some footage of where this all goes, you can hopefully refer back to it and put this back together properly. So let's just get this carb off here. So there's a bit of fuel coming out of there, but that's fine. So I've got the carb off. Let's just tuck that under there a bit. So if you've got a mower and it's just been sat for ages, it's got loads of stale fuel in, at the bottom of this carb here, one thing you can try if you can get it undone, I can't even get that undone, is you can undo one of these bolts and just drain some fuel out of it. But this is so tight, everything's so tight. And again, this is a sign of someone who's tried to stop the carb leaking, because they've tightened it so much you can't really get anything undone. They've just tried to tighten everything as much as possible to stop any air leaks or fuel leaks, and obviously it's not worked. So let's get that off here. What I really want to look at in this is the needle. So let's take that there. Can you see this needle here, this pin through here, and the needle? You see this? You see the needle? And you get a really good shot of that needle there on the top of there. Yeah. You're very close. Are you sure you're in focus?
We're in focus. We're in focus.
Then, see it? See the needle there?
Yeah.
It's not moving up and down, is it?
No.
Yeah? So that is why what's happening with this is filling up with fuel, okay? Then this is lifting up with the fuel underneath it, this floats, hence it's been called a float. And this needle here, which is sticking here, isn't moving. You see that it's not moving? You see?
Yes.
Can you see?
I think so.
I really want you to see this little part here. See that little silver bit there on the top?
Yeah, I can see that.
You see it? It's not moving, look. Yeah?
Yeah.
If that don't move when this comes back up, if that don't push back in, it still lets fuel in and it pours out, which is exactly what we had. So what I'm going to do is pull this pin out of here. I'm going to take this off here and see exactly what we've got. Let's just try and work this out and work out why this, it's on a little spring this, so it's really, it should go in and out no problem. It looks kind of like he's done it right. I wonder why that's not going up and down. So let's just put the pin back in again. We'll have to spend 5 minutes just doing a little bit of investigation work here as to why this pin isn't going up and down. This needle isn't going up and down, I should say. It all feels a bit weird, a bit like the parts have kind of come off a different mower. Like this bit that goes to here is really tight. You can see now, look, can you see the needle go up and down?
Yeah, there it is, yeah.
But it's sticking. I don't know if you can tell, but it's kind of sticking a little bit. And it just wants cleaning off with some carb spray. So let's take that off. We've got all the parts apart from a gasket, so I'll take that off. Take that off. I'm going to leave that there. And see the spring and the needle?
Yep.
And that moves up and down, look. That looks like it's working fine. So my only thought is that it's sticking on the inside of here. So I'm going to clean all this out with carb spray, but if you look inside of here, there's actually like a pickup chamber here, and it's got like indents inside it. It's really hard to see with the sun on you, but I'm going to get a flathead screwdriver and undo that. So let's get this main tube out of here. What you need for this is a screwdriver with a flat blade that's not too wide. I'll get this out of here and clean this off. If it's not running correctly, see that? If it's not running correctly, it's normally because one of these is blocked. There's like a little pinhole in there. I'm going to hold that up to the light there. Yeah, that looks pretty dirty actually. And inside here, there's actually another one. So what I'm going to do to get that out is I'm going to get an Allen key. I'm going to poke it through the back of the carb, and I'm going to push it downwards. I'm going to clean that off as well. Right, so I'm going to poke this in here and push, hopefully push this other one down. Sometimes you just need to knock it down a bit. I've done that before, haven't I? So you can see all these tiny little holes. In fact, I can even see the bottom ones there. It's completely blocked. In fact, loads of them are blocked. I'll stop filming in a second. I'm going to take a photograph of that for you with my phone and just show you the blocked holes. Right, so I'm going to give this a blast off with all this carb spray in here. Fill all these holes up. Just give everything a really good clean, particularly this one where the needle goes as well. Nearly got some then. Nearly got covered. Obviously wear safety glasses, not like I am. Should have done, shouldn't I? Just a right good clean off. Make sure I've got everything as good as I want to get it. All these little holes and chambers, and just spend 5 minutes doing this. If you've got an air compressor, blow it out with an airline as well. And I'm also going to do these parts that I showed you before. I'm going to do this, particularly this. I'll find somewhere clean to do that in a second, but just to give you an idea, do this one as well. Make sure there's no dirt in any of these parts. Ideally do this somewhere really nice and clean. I'm going to take these out of camera and just clean these somewhere a little bit better. I'm even going to clean off this needle as well. Just give it a bit of a clean so it's not got any old fuel sticking to it and stopping it from working. I'm also going to spray out the float ball as well. Right, so let's stick this back together. Let's put this gold tube in here, whatever this is called. Anyway, it's like a pickup part in it. I never really know what things are called. What should we call this? I don't know. A flue, the golden flue, that goes in there.
There we go.
Stick that in there like that. Make sure it drops all the way to the bottom. And we're going to get this part here, which is the end of the golden flute. Who cares what it's called anyway? Make sure the flathead screwdriver part's there, and push that in. I'm going to screw this back in. And if I had a gasket for this, which is really quite annoying that I haven't. In fact, I could look in my tub. I don't think I'd have kept any of these bits, but if I had a gasket for this, I reckon I could probably get this running. So I've got that back in there. I'm going to put this back on here, like that. And I'm happy that that's moving up and down exactly as it should. I used to think I am. Yeah, that has to be right, like that. Let's try and get this pin in here. You really need to make sure that everything's moving freely before you put these carbs back together. It's a complete waste of time doing it if it's not. So from this side, I'm just making sure that in there where that spring is, that needle can move up and down. Hopefully you can just about see that on camera.
Yeah,
Can you see? Just about that it's moving up and down. So I'm happy that's moving up and down. A bit of carb spray in this bowl as well at the bottom. I'm not doing any of that, so we'll do a bit of that. Is that clean off? Try not to throw it on the floor. I'm hoping. Let me just have a quick look at this. I'm just trying to work out this gasket. It's a while since I've seen one of these. I'm trying to work out if this gasket actually goes between the carb here and here. I'm pretty sure there's supposed to be a gasket here. I'm just trying to work out which way on it might have gone or where it might have gone and line the holes up. So I'll spend 5 minutes just having a look at that to see if I need a gasket. Right, so I'm going to put this back on, clean this off. This is where your fuel goes in. So what you want with this is you want this part here where you can drain the fuel out. You want that at the front. So I'm going to put that on like that. And I'm just going to tighten that up. So what I don't like really about these carbs is that this has got a spring on here which opens and closes this butterfly choke here. This opens and closes, by the way, when you do this lever here. Basically this cable runs down to here. When you operate it, it moves this lever. So when it's on choke, this is properly closed, hence choking it so the engine starts. But under the side of this one over the years, what I've seen with these ones at this side here is that these have little springs on normally that wind around, but they're really, really thin. And I'm never sure whether this is supposed to have a spring on or not. Sometimes, until I've managed to get a spring back on it, I've never managed to get them running properly. So it's a bit of a mystery to me, some of these, whether they're supposed to have a spring on this side or not. So if you do know, leave us a comment in the comments section and just let me know if you think there should be a spring under here. So I'm going to try and put this back on. I think there should be a gasket here, but for now I haven't got one. So I'm going to put it back on just for now, and I'll probably just go and order a gasket. Right, so I'm going to have to refer back to my own photographs here. So it's been a while since I've done anything on one of these. So this one, this hook and loop on here, this looks like it goes through, sorry, wrong way around, into there and hooks through. Does that look like that? Yeah, that looks pretty good. And then this one, there's a linkage somewhere. This one here, this linkage here, is always a bit weird to do this one. I think that one hooks in there like that. Maybe. Let's try it other way. And that like that, and then that under there like that. So as you probably saw, I had a bit of trouble getting these linkages on because this was really quite hard to hook on. What we had to do here was actually move this. If you look at the carb, this actually moves these parts about. So if you're struggling to get these linkages hooked back on, just maybe have a look at the throttle at the top as well, put it somewhere near the middle. I'm going to push this back on here, and there isn't a gasket on there, so it shouldn't, in theory, work right. So what I'm going to do is, before I put this air filter box on so you can't see anything, I'm going to put these two bolts back through here and tighten them up if they'll go all the way in. Let's just try this with a 10mm socket if I can find it again. 9. There we go. 10. Let's just put these in here. What I like to try and do if I've got a carb that's been leaking is get the bulk of the parts back together, and I really do think there should be a gasket between there. I'll tighten this up, and then what I like to do is connect the fuel line back up and just drop a little bit of fuel in, and that way you can still see if your carb's leaking or not. So I'm going to push this back on here. We're going to get a bit more fuel, not much at all, and we're just going to drop it in here and just make sure it's not pouring out the bottom. So there's nothing in there. So if you go back and watch the last video I did on the Briggs engine, you'll see why they're the best ones to start on. So I want to stick a little bit of fuel in there. And I'm just going to let this run down to this carb. If you come and film around the front, buddy, you can just see if there's any fuel leaking out. Hopefully there isn't. In fact, I'll put that spring back on while we're there. I think that hooked over there, mate, didn't it? Yes, I think we've got the carb back on right. So let me just move this lever about a bit. What have we got there? Everything moving? Can you film the linkages from the top for people? So if they've done what we've done, they can try and get it back together.
We're in focus.
Nothing leaking? No petrol coming out?
Not at the minute.
Oh, a linkage has come out, look. Has it? Oh no, it hasn't. There, look at that one under there. Just film that there. So this is at the fastest speed. Just film that linkage there, mate. I want to see how this linkage moves when I do the thing underneath.
Yeah, I can
this
see
one
it.
under here. So I'm going to pull this up to the top, and then it connects and pulls onto choke. So you can see how this closes when it's on choke, and then it opens up again when you go onto full pot throttle. So one thing you can look for, if you just look up here, mate, at this speed control, it's got a choke lever at the top. So I am going to have to leave this on, of course, on this mower. I got that wrong at the beginning of the video. Someone will have commented already, you know, even though they've not watched the full video. So yeah, I'm going to have to leave that on. It obviously requires a choke, so I need to leave that handle on. But what you can see is that closes correctly. If this doesn't close correctly, you can alter this cable under here, and you can adjust this so that when this is in the choke position, this is actually closed. So just something to be aware of. So I'm going to drop a bit more fuel in here and just check that it's not leaking now. So there's a good amount in there really. If there's no leaks coming out of there, I'm going to give this mower another little test and just see if we can get it to at least fire up. So just to try this, I'm going to set this awful cord off at here. I've got a lighter here, there's quite a bit of fuel around here, so I don't want to set myself on fire. I might have to go in garage with this. You said that, didn't you? Yeah. You said why don't we go in garage with that, didn't you?
Yeah.
Good idea. Good idea, buddy. Yeah? I'm going to fray the end of this if this ever works. In fact, I shouldn't really do this with gloves on, should you? Because your gloves catch fire. Let's just take them off. I'm going to do this just so I can give myself a fighting chance of being able to pull the cord. What I've done here is I've just clamped this here so it don't pull back in. The spring tension on these is massive really. So if this goes back in here, I'm leading to a job I really don't want to have to do. So I'm going to bend that a bit. Let's just put this in here. Just put that through there, pull a knot in that. Let's just take this off. Then at least I've got a fighting chance of, you know, at least trying to get this running. I really don't think this is going to work without the correct gasket set up. So let's see if we can find these bits we took off. We'll pop these back on. Right, so just pop these back on here. And we'll give this a go. We've still got no leaks, which is a good sign. Be interesting to see what this runs like. I'm going to have to go and look back at one of my old videos of these because I've done loads of these, but I haven't done any more for about 2 or 3 years really. I need to go back to probably the longest one of these SV150s I did. There's actually probably a playlist on the channel. On the actual channel I try and put everything into playlists for like Briggs engines, SV150 engines. And I'll have to try and use those playlists to go back through and see the gasket setups on these. But for now we've got fuel in it which isn't leaking out. We've got a pull cord on it to try it. We've got a bit of fuel in it. We've got some oil. So let's take this off here. Plug that leak back on. Let's put this on choke and pull that. And then if this don't rip my arm off, let's try it. Right, okay, so obviously running too fast, but I've got a mower that runs now. It starts and it runs, it just runs too fast. So now I know I've got that, it didn't pull back on my arm or anything. I can do some investigation work just to find out why this is running too fast, get this set up correctly, and then continue with this service work. So I've just looked at my photographs of this carb and spent, what, 30 seconds looking at it, and everything looks right. But if you look here, this governor arm here doesn't move, and the reason it doesn't move is because this cable is annoying it, it's touching it. But you can see now it moves. So now this part on the top moves. Stand up, mate, you can see, can't you? So that part on the top now moves. And the reason it didn't work is because someone's clipped these cables together here with a cable tie, and unluckily, and because it's a terribly designed lawnmower, not that I've mentioned it before, it's actually moved into a position where the governor arm's been knocked. So for now I'm going to put that on top of there. This can move freely, this all moves freely, so I'm going to again put the cover on and I'm going to try this mower again. So I said at the beginning of the video with these, especially when they've been sat outside, is this bit, when you tied it up, it tends to get that tight that it takes all this off with it. So now I've got this part kind of attached to that part, so not the world's greatest design really, so it's just, I've got to now get this part off here, so you end up with another job that you really didn't want to have to do. Although it's not such a big deal, it's just another thing that's a bit of a faff, innit? So I'm going to have to get this in the vise now, tighten it up just to get this little thing off the top of here. So let's try this live if you like. Let's just check that. So that's moving about now. Put this on choke again. This is really stiff. I'm worried about that snapping. There we go, one perfectly good running SV150 engine lawnmower. There's a bit of smoke coming off this, probably because I've had it tipped up to just get the fuel out of it and stuff like that. So I'm going to leave that running for 5 minutes and burn that off. And I'm going to clean this up. We'll do a proper service on this. We'll do the blade on the underside, tighten everything up, probably change the oil as well. I'm amazed that runs so well without a gasket. And one other thing I want to mention as well is it even runs without the air filter box on. And one thing I've just forgotten as well, I must put on, this goes on the actual recoil as well, and this can stop things going wrong, so make sure you put this part back on. I forgot. But one thing I was going to mention, even without this air filter box on, just for testing these types of engine, you can probably get these bolts in and just test it without having to put this back on, because this can be a bit of a faff. And really there should be the breather tube on there as well that connects to here. So I'm really happy with that. I am going to go back on my other videos and just see if there's a gasket on there, and if there is, of course I'll just quickly take that off and replace it. It'll only be a pound or whatever, so I'll do that. But for now I'm going to clean this mower up. I'm going to do all the regular servicing stuff. We'll do the oil, we'll do the plug, we'll do the blade, and we'll have a look at these cables and see if we can free off these really tight cables as well just before it snaps. So I'm not going to film all this cleaning and doing the blade. I've shown this loads of times, but what I am going to quickly show you is there's a load of stuff under here. I don't know if you can just see, all wrapped around under here. So we're going to take that off with a wire brush and a knife, go around it with this dirt blaster lance on this cartridge card. But then I'm going to show you how to do the oil a different way if you don't have an extractor. I'm going to show you where the plug is underneath to get all this oil out of here, and we're going to drain this out, change this over. I'm going to show you a few different things on this and put this back together. I'll try and cover some things that basic owners of this mower might just want to know, and people that are repairing for profit. So on the previous video I mentioned that these pins were missing off this like blade adapter here. What I mean is, if you just put your hands on there, David, and show people what I mean. Those little bits there, if you push that blade on now, mate, you can show people where this goes, so everything nice and lines up, and it actually pushes on these holes. And all you do then is, now I've sharpened this blade, is you just snip this back up and it just holds it in position. So I was hoping to show you the drain hole on the bottom of this, but there isn't one. So what instead I'm going to do, make sure that's right, these cables, I'm going to take these cables off here and I'm going to try and lubricate them up. And if you pull the handle at the top there, that red one here, I'll notice the cable sticking, you'll see where it's trying to move inside here. You can see all this bit's moving. I'm just going to lubricate all this up a little bit as well first, and this part of the cable as well, you can see there, and lubricate all this up as well. I'm going to take these cables off at the top and try and lubricate them, see if we can get them working a bit better. Yep, so this is, I'm going to unhook this from here. This always takes a bit of faffing about with. So I'm struggling with that, probably because I'm not giving myself enough cable, so I'm going to take this off here and take that off. Let's just take that washer off as well, and this part here, and then this cable should loosen up a little bit, as you can see, like it has there. And then instead of struggling, I should just be able to really in theory, and then I got second out, didn't we, unhook this out this handle. So here we go, I've got this out of here. What I was hoping to do really was get this off here and drop some oil down this cable. So I'm not sure if that's going to come off. If not, I'm just going to drop some oil down this hole here. So I'm just going to drop a bit of oil in here. I can't see any other quick way of getting this off, so I'm going to kind of drop it down the cable all the way along from the top and just let this run down, and hopefully it'll just all sink down this hole and get into this cable sheath here and work its way down this cable. Hopefully it'll solve the problem if I get enough to go down there. So while I'm doing other bits, I'm just going to keep dropping a few bits of oil in there and working this down here. So I'm going to do the same with this as well. This is really quite rusty here. So I'm just going to drop some oil down this hole here, just try and keep filling it up a bit at a time, and just try and get all these cables lubricated. You can only get a drop in at a time. I'm going to do the same with the other end here as well. I'm just going to drop a little bit on these parts here, and then once I get this cable connected back up, I'll just move it backwards and forwards, and over time it should free up. But I don't really want to try and sell someone this and they come and pull this and it's really, really stiff, because they'll be like, well, what's wrong with this? So ideally I need this to be moving freely. Right, so now we've got the added fun until my gaskets come, or if I need a gasket, which I need to check out when I go back in after I've watched Formula 1 qualifying in Bahrain. I'm going to pop this back on here, but this is always fun. So I've undone that, tried to hold it in place, and now you've got the added delight of trying to get all this back through here like this without it all moving out of the way you want it to go. Let's just try and get that one in there. Let's just try and get that one in there. And that went particularly well. And before I tighten everything else up, I've got to get this breather pipe, which is here. I've got to get that on there. Pull that up and put it on the back of this air filter box here like that, look. That goes on there like that. Get that in position, tighten it up. And at each stage, when I've done this mower, even when I tipped it up again to clean it off afterwards, at each stage I've tested it again. So I've cleaned the air filter there. We've got a load of dirt out of that, didn't we? We did that with the pressure washer. Never really done that before. Normally just like get some petrol and do that. And then I'm going to get this air filter box here. If you remember at the beginning, this was broken, so I've at least taken a bit of time to try and super glue that bit. So we'll hook that. Even that's broken off a bit, hasn't it? I'll try and hook that on there. We'll put that through there. It's not perfect, that. I might have to make something with that. I don't like that being loose. I might have to put a cable tie. I'll do something around there to make sure that that's right for the new owner. Right, so let's just swap this plug out as well. This looks like it's been in since the beginnings of time, doesn't it? So let's just get that out of there. B2LM, look. Same as I'm putting in. Wow, look at that. Someone's been struggling with that, hasn't they? Wowzers. Let's put another one of those in there for good measure. back up a little bit. Don't need to be really tight, just hand tight will do really. Just a little bit. If you swing on these and take them in too far, you can actually push, if the head's at the top of the cylinder, you can actually push them in so this gap doesn't exist. So just be careful not to over tighten these plugs as well. Oh, let's have a look in the end of there. Oh yeah, that's okay. Maybe just me not being very good. There we go, it's clicked back on. I always like to hear that click. Hopefully you heard that on camera. Right, so next day, just out having a bit of a clean up here. Bit of fairy liquid in a bucket, a bit of a scouring pad and some degreaser. Go around all this. Only had one wheel trim on, so we've taken that off. The oil, I've sucked all this out. Probably seen in previous videos, I've got a 500ml oil extractor. It's like a syringe, you just pull the thing up and it sucks it out, and it only does 500ml, which is all you need, because that's what these little engines just about take, most of it. So let's just have a quick look at that. Yeah, the oil's good on that. Let's have a quick look, make sure that's coming up that stick. I used to have all sorts of different oil extractors, quite expensive ones, and in the end I got this like a suction one. You just basically use it like a syringe and it sucks it all out. It's like a tenner on Amazon. I've got a video on it on the channel somewhere. Yeah, that's all good and clean now. And that's all you need. Just saves tipping lawnmowers up. Just suck the oil out of it and the fuel if you needed to. And they're really handy things to have. And then just put it in a container and take it to your local tip, and you can get rid of it. So done that. We're just having a bit of a clean roundup, as I've said. So we've done the blade, done the plug, done the oil, done the carb. I am actually going to do this pull cord because it's a bit of a mess, and I can't remember doing one on one of these types of recoil covers for quite a while, so I'll cover that in the video as well.
We've got a new helper, so let's take this recoil cover off.
Right, okay, so I've decided to do this recoil cover. Take this recoil cover off and do this pull cord. It's a mess, so we'll just whip this off. What I might also do while I'm doing this is I might actually just film a little short video, like a 2-minute video, just for people who have lost the springs and linkages and stuff, because these are easy to fall off. So as a separate video, I'll probably just film a 2-minute video of these springs and linkages. So if you're struggling with this, after, just look on the channel and you should see an SV150 springs and linkage video. So you take that cover off, mate. Don't lose your parts, will you?
Oh, no.
No, put them in your pocket and you won't be able to find them later. Right, whip that off, buddy. I can leave that together, can't we?
Yep.
Let's have a look at the inside of this. I haven't done one of these for a while. You just do us a favour, mate, and pull that pull cord right out. Let's see how this all lines up. Okay. It's like tug of war. I'm trying to film it. No, pull it out, mate. Wow. I'm joking with you. See that? I'm trying to see on my camera. So there's a knot there, and it just pushes through there. So again, like on the last video, somewhere like that, I'm going to get the clamp and I'm going to line this up, pull this out and change it over. Okay, mate, like slowly let that go back in. Right. So, the first thing I'm going to do is just do exactly what I did then. Pull that out so I can get everything lined up and clamp this. So if you look down at the floor, you'll see we've got all this pull cord pulled out of here. And we've got this lined up here, we've got the knot here. Sometimes it's just good to have a little look and see what the alignment's actually like before you take this out. So I'm basically going to pull this out. I'm going to get some long nose pliers, pull that out, and cut this off, and we're going to swap this over. Right, so let's pull this out of here. Just grab this out of here. Make sure you've got this clamped really well at this point. I'll just cut this off here. Oh, what have we been using this for? This blade's so blunt, isn't it? Right. Oh, I know what we did. We hacked off all the stuff around the bottom of the blade yesterday, didn't we? Around the blade adapter. So pull that out of there. And again, we'll just have a really basic measure of this. Where did we put our pull cord rope, mate? Is it in the garage?
Yes.
Come on, we'll have a look in here while we're there. There we go. There we go. I tried to lay this out on the last video, but it's been in a box for quite a while, so it's all got a bit curly. Can you put your foot on that for us? Stick your foot on there. No, you missed.
Oh, no, I've missed it.
Oh, no, another outtake, look.
No, we'll cut it out. We'll
cut it out, yeah, of course we will. We might do. There's probably loads of videos with bits we should have cut out, isn't there? It's probably best from now on, if I'm going to do a video, so I don't get much time anymore, to just leave them all in. So if you see anything I should have cut out, just ignore it. I ain't got time anymore. So Give yourself a little bit extra like I did on the last video. I really should put another nice blade in here. I'm gonna get this. We'll go in the garage and burn the end of this so it doesn't fray. Yeah, look. Tumble dryer, look. Hey, how many videos have I turned that off on, David? Let's just burn the end of that a bit. Just a little bit and pinch it. So it's got a nice point on the end of it. Remember to start the tumble dryer up. Otherwise I'll be in trouble with Mower woman. What, David?
Yes.
Right. Let's get this to I don't need that. I brought that out, but I don't need it, look. So that's curling that way, which was kind of the way the other one was going. So let's poke this through here and hope that this goes in the right place. Let's have a quick look. This could take a little bit of doing. What you can do with this is, I'm going to give you a few little tips you can do with this is, the first thing you can do really is get this lined up as good as you can before you take it off, and just try and remember. The second thing is, well, the second thing really is you can bend the pull cord as well to which way you think it needs to go and it goes in, and that can sometimes help you. And the third thing is to take the clamp off very, very slightly and basically move it around just a little bit. Sometimes this just doesn't line up. So you just poke this through here. Eventually you can see the whole thing's lined up there. You need to just grab this, these pliers off here, bud. Damn it. I was going to get them, but anyway. Oh, don't fall out again. So we'll get this and pull this through. I always like doing this because for me it's like an easy win really, because I've already got like 100 meters of this stuff, and it's just another benefit when you come to selling it, and it always looks decent on the photographs as well. So pull that, let's just get that tight like that, pull that in there, and let's just tuck this in as well a little bit, so hopefully it doesn't catch on anything on the back. So I'm going to push that in a little bit, just push it down, kind of defeat it a bit. Hopefully that's good to go. So let's take a look at the other end. All I'm going to do with the other end, I don't need to film all this, is I'm basically going to burn the other end. I'm going to cut that handle off there, swap this over, and then we'll pop this back. So I'll put this on here, pull this through, same thing again, burn the end, pull it through, tie a knot, try and get the knot somewhere near the end of here. Pull this tight like that and grab that in here, and then if you're on your own, what I tend to do is I tend to, on the Briggs ones anyway, I can get your thumb on the actual thing, but I'm going to get hold of this tight, as tight as I can there. My fingers, I'm going to take off this clamp here. But what I don't want to happen is I don't want this recoil rope to go in really, really fast, so I want to get this off here fast as possible. I've had this clamp for ages, haven't I? I should get a decent one. Right? Some people have all this fancy stuff, like, you know, these spring ones you can just squeeze and stuff. What I do is I just let it go through my fingers just slowly, particularly the first time you do it, just let it go in so nothing gets trapped around. As you can see, that's gone right in, so I'm happy with that. So let's just try that on there. Let's just pull this at the top. We started this handle out, didn't we, David? Look at this. We dropped a load of oil down here, and this works great now. So let me just take this lead off here at the front. So I'm going to pull the cord. Take that off. Pull that. Let's have a look at this. Oh, we can't. We've got the blade there, obviously. Yeah, this is going to be good. So we'll get that in there. And a 2-minute job. And I don't know what you think, mate, but that to me looks like a new lawnmower. Actual operator lever at the top. Right, so as someone had cable tied this back here, I mentioned earlier in the video, it moves all this governor arm. So for the new owner, I'm going to make sure that that doesn't happen, and I am going to cable tie this. I'm going to cable tie it further along so it can't move, and I'll explain this to the person who buys it as well. I'll say if it runs, you know, far too fast, just to make sure that this isn't catching, I'll let them know. So I'm going to actually cable tie that on there, which keeps this under here. So this is now running and can't really move anywhere near this governor arm. Hopefully you can hear under there. that's out the way. So I'm going to tighten that cable tie up and snip that off, and that should be good for a few years. Right, so just for fun, I'm going to try some of this resin polish on here. I've done this before ages ago. This is obviously for cars, and this is absolutely massive overkill for a lawnmower. So comment away all you like, but this lawnmower, if you film around here, buddy, look how dull the paint is. So I'm going to try it on this front bit here. Just try and bring it back up to life just a little bit. So let's just try it on here a bit and just see what sort of difference we can get. We'll stick a bit on there. Well, let's just go around here, because it just looks like it's a bit dead. It was so dirty and covered in petrol and oil, this, so let's just try a bit there. We'll put a bit on here, look, and just have a look at what it can do. So let's go there. Let's put a bit on that. You can see the colour coming back out. So let's just buff this first bit. Let's just go over here with this bit. Hopefully you can see the kind of magic that's happening. So what I might do is I might knife that sticker off here, because it's stuck well to there, and just clean this off. But hopefully you can see how it just brings this paintwork up. And this is probably going to seem absolutely ridiculous, but if I get time when I'm editing the video, I'll put the photos in at the end, and you'll see just how much better. Look at that there now. You'll see just how much better this lawnmower looks for, you know, 50 pence worth of polish, and much better. Look at that, much more sellable. So I'm going to spend 2 minutes going around here with a little bit of car polish, just to bring this back up to colour. This is from 2008, this lawnmower. If anyone that's wondering, it's a HL45 4 HP. So there we go, 2008. So hopefully you can tell a bit of that polish and a bit of WD-40 and going around this and cleaning it up. Although it obviously doesn't look like new, this is massively improved from when we picked this up, which was really ready for the scrap heap. So I'll start this up and I'll do a little bit at the end of the video, just to go through what we've done, as you can see. But everything, although it isn't perfect, there's bits of paint missing. This is, you know, it's got to be worth 80 quid for someone. There's a good 60 quid profit in this. So we'll lift it down, we'll fire it up, take some photos of this, and I'm going to ask £80 for this. I actually asked 120 for the last one I did, and I got it. I got literally no response for about 4 days, and I got one guy that came and picked it up and bank transferred me 120 with £85 profit. So 85 for that, maybe 60 for this. It's good money. If this time of year is quiet for you and you can get out and pick some mowers up, you can repair these for profit. This one has been a bit of a pig, to be honest with you, and I kind of knew it would be, just because of the SV150 engines, which I don't dislike the engine, I just don't like working on them. It's not much fun. So let's fire this up. So here we go, that's the final product. I'll fire this up in just a second, but hopefully you can see what a nice little mower it's turned into for someone. This is got to be worth £80 all day long. So we've done the blade, we've done the oil, we've done the carb, we've done the spark plug, we've done the recoil rope, we've given it a good tidy up underneath and on top. This mower is ready to go. So let's fire this up one more time. I'm going to stick this on my front grass and ask £80 for this. In fact, we've even treated this cable up as well at the top. Look at that, by dropping a bit of oil down there, haven't we? So there we go, another one done. This was £20 going in the skip lawnmower. Probably going to make 50-60 quid profit on this just by really doing basic servicing and spending a couple of hours in the garden. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. If I see any more about this summer, I might do one or two. I probably won't get an SV150, and if you're starting this, I would strongly suggest you get a Briggs & Stratton 35 Classic engine, which are much easier to work on. But you could also just get one of these and tinker around and learn this stuff for yourself and make yourself a little profit this summer. So thanks for watching the channel. If you're not subscribed, please consider doing so. It's been kind of fun and kind of a bit awkward, but I enjoyed filming the video. Thanks for watching.